Hello everyone, we are Team Blue Bacon. And today we're gonna introduce our game OrthoIso here. My name is Jensen, I'm the lead director and the producer, and this is Bochang, our lead engineer, and this is Seal, our lead designer. This is our team members. We have a lead artist, David from LCAD, but he has a schedule conflict, so he cannot be here. We also have engineer, level designer, Tree, and the composer, Anthony. And we also have a writer, Colin, from there. Yeah, thank you. So let's talk about our game. Our game, OrthoIso, is a platformer puzzle game with optical illusions and impossible objects. The name OrthoIso comes from the two terms, orthographic projection and isometric view, which these two are the two very important features of our game. As you can see here, each level in the game is composed by, by the way, the features, I will talk about them later in detail. So in the game here, each puzzle is, Each puzzle is composed by several platforms constructed with the cubic blocks and several controllers. The goal is very simple. You control the little player character, the little green sphere here, to move around the puzzle and try to create and find a path that will lead you to the final goal, which is the golden key here. This is our key features. Like every puzzle design in this game has the concept of what you see is what you get. The player will see the world through three fixed orthogonal views that where in each view what you see there looks like real is the real thing. Like you can see here, you can jump and walk between the platforms, even if they look like they are near to each other. And another feature is the pattern. The pattern on the side of a cube looks like this. There are two key pieces. If they looks like they are aligned in a view, and then they will become the actual object. They will transform from the 2D texture to become a real 3D object that the player can actually use it in the real game. So in this level, you can see that the key pieces just pop out and they become a true key that the player can touch it and get to the next level. And there are already many games featuring in optical illusions, like Monument Valley and Fez and Garagoa. But what makes our game OrthoIso really different is the two things. First, we don't require really precise and hardcore actions, which many platformer do. And in the game, what we require is the smart manipulation around the world. For example, in some levels, the player needs to grab a cube and put it somewhere else, and then change the view to create a new path a new path that will lead him to the final goal. And the second thing is we don't restrict the accessible area in the game, which many puzzler games do. So in our game, the player can go to anywhere, can explore anything. The key of this game is to create and find the solution. There might be several solutions to a puzzle, which makes our game very interesting and unique. So we are currently developing this game for PC and Mac, and we have a solid plan for delivering it to iOS, Android, and web in the future. Our target audience our game mostly aims at puzzle lover because our game is just all about mind-blowing puzzles. But we also aim at casual players and hardcore players. For casual players, we arranged our puzzles in a chapter and level set, so that the players can just start playing and stop playing at any time. For the hardcore players can try to beat the puzzles with, to say, fastest time and no death and the minimal view change and some innovation of the solutions. And next we will have our lead engineer Bo Chang to talk more about gameplay.
Then I'll show you the gameplay part of our game. So you see the player can just do simple move, jump, just like all the other platformers do. Also, the player will be able to change between 3 orthogonal views to manipulate the optical illusion in order to get to some place that only looks like they are close to each other, but actually they are far away from each other. Also, the player will be able to interact with some buttons, some triggers to move and rotate some kind of block to find a path that gets the player to the final, or find those hidden objects that hidden as some texture, as part of texture of some cubes. And here's the prototype of this. We built this in the past 2 months. We already have this like 10 levels that is playable. If you have any interest, feel free to come to us and play it. It will take like less than 10 minutes. This one is a wooden box. It's something that the player can grab on his head and put it down to help the player to get to higher place. The interesting part of this thing is that we don't require this box to be like wooden texture in all 6 faces. As long as this box looks like that's what this box looks like, it's a wooden box in some view, the player will be able to grab this box. So this is what our game is about. As long as you see it, it's true, that's true. And this one also called the rotatable cube. You can see that these red and blue cubes, they're actually far away from each other. There's nothing between this. The player cannot jump that high. However, if we switch to isometric view, we can try to rotate this one and create a path to this red cube to get to the final key. The next one is a really simple one. This yellow, this arrow cube is just an elevator that's moved each time the player hits the trigger. So the player can use this one to get to the final, find a path for himself. And it's also straightforward laser. You touch it, you die. But we can avoid it by changing view and go safely onto this silver block and go to the final goal. And this is what Jensen mentioned about we got pattern match. So since that, like in this level, we only got the lower half of this key. And then the first job of the player is to try to control and rotate this block so that the upper part of the key and lower part of the key get aligned together. So it will form an actual key for the player to collect it. Then the player will then find a path to get to the key. So next, my teammate will talk about our production plan and our game structure.
Okay, so next, I'll first start with the summarize up everything we've got. Like in each level, we will have a series of blocks and a goal for the player to reach. Then to reach the goal, the player should take steps in a small loop. Each loop, the player could choose to move, to jump, or to change the wheel to look at the world from a different perspective so that he could reach different places every step. Also, there will be some widgets that the player could interact with in each level so that with these widgets, the player could control the things that's already in this space, but to change the position of them to form a new path for the player to take. Then with these steps, the player would gradually get up closer to the final goal. And next, so that was the structure of a single game. Now I want to introduce the structure of the whole game. Currently, we have some demo levels. For the whole game, we are gonna separate the levels in chapters. For each chapter, there will be 10 or 15 levels in each chapter, and each chapter would aim at some theme, some basic mechanics, like the basic controls or laser or something else. And these chapters would line up to be groups, to be our final game. And like in each chapter, there will be a tutorial level to introduce how some mechanics works. And in later levels, of these chapters, there will be more complex levels that will combine these mechanics with some other mechanics and all them together. So for the first chapter, we'll introduce the basic control. Second, for the control interact with other blocks already in the maze. And third, for the later key pieces that line up together. And for the later levels, later chapters, we will add some more features or combine the previous features together. And next, I'm gonna talk about the background story. So basically, our story is about a little boy. The little boy's father is an explorer who goes around all over the world to different places. The boy is too young and too weak. He couldn't follow his father to the place he's been to. So the little boy, in his dream, every night in his dream, the boy dreams about himself becoming a little frog to travel to different places like his father. So why am I going to use frog? So in Chinese culture, this frog means wisdom, means vitality. So for our game, this frog has the wisdom to manipulate the world, to change the wheels, to line up together, help you reach the goal. And he got the strength to jump over to different places to realize the boy's dream to follow his father's step. Next, I'm going to talk about the production plan. So basically, we already have a prototype for our game. We'll still be working on our prototype for until the start of next semester. Our artist team will also decide the art style of our game by the start, by the August, to decide the basic structure, what we will have for the alpha and for the beta. And for the first semester, we will have our alpha release by the end. We're going to split up the first semester to several milestones. Each milestone will focus on some separate features in our game, and after each milestone, we'll invite people from any places to test our games. And so by the end of alpha, we will have a complete playable demo that will allow the players to test it totally. And for the second semester, we'll keep working, keep polishing our game, and make sure it could be published to public, like on Steam or somewhere else. So that's basically our plan. And
3 minutes.
And basically everything we've got to tell about. Do you have any questions about our game? Yes.
I was curious, how long have you been working on this before?
Since January, 2 months.
Yes.
Do you have any sample games from which you are drawing your artistic inspiration?
Artistic inspiration was working
Yeah,
on.
your art direction.
Actually, we are hoping to do something like Monument Valley space. Also, we like to add some Tomb Raider features, something like that, since it's an adventure game.
Mm-hmm.
So we are looking forward to got some adventure game, but originally it looks like something like Monument Valley or something like that.
And what's your development platform?
Oh, it's Unity.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Thank you.